All right, so in this video, I want to talk to you about something very important, and I think this is probably one of the most important videos you can watch when it comes to the high ticket funnel. Now, a high ticket funnel is a critical component to a business that sells high ticket products. Anything that ranges from 3,000 all the way up to 100K. And in order to sell products at that price point, it needs to be well oiled, and you need to have the right systems in place to make sure that it works efficiently. Now, my name is Matthew White, and over the last 2 years, we've made $4.2 million selling high ticket coaching and consulting programs. This year is our high ticket coaching clients, and this is our Red Diamond coaching clients. Sell those for $50,000. These are $15,000. So we've been in the high ticket space for a long time. We have two businesses, one in real estate, one in business consulting. And so when it comes to selling high ticket products, we know a thing or two, and we get more than 30 plus bookings in a week. Our calendars are fully booked. So in this video, I'm going to cover these four components. First of all, we're going to talk about the first stage, which is the must-have ingredients to a high ticket funnel. We're going to talk about the funnel mechanics and how the funnel works and what's the most important aspects of a high ticket funnel. We're going to talk about how sales are truly made. I think there's a misconception or a misunderstanding about the sales process in a high ticket funnel. And finally, number 4, at the end of this video, you need to stick around. I'm going to show you a secret offer that we've used that's helped us make that $4.2 million over the last 2 years. All right, so just if I zoom out here a bit, I'll go into this section here. You can see this is the funnel that I'm going to be talking about. All right, we're going to cover this component here, all the way from this part, all the way down to the end, which is your closing of your sale. All right, I'll be talking about all of that, but let's start from the beginning. All right, let's start with understanding what's going on, because a lot of people struggle in the coaching consulting expert space. Number one, to create enough value to sell at a high enough price point that there is profit. Number two, they often don't have the infrastructure in place to make the sales happen, to close the sales. And quite often as well, they don't have the know-how or the expertise to drive the clients from point A to point B, meaning they don't have the trust to make the sale happen. They haven't built enough trust in their business for the sales to happen more frequently or at a higher price point. Now, there's a lot of struggle out there, and everybody has a different opinion about high ticket funnels. So we developed over the years a system that works very well for us and our clients, and we call this the Red Diamond funnel, which is the funnel that I just showed you before. We install that funnel for our clients, but I'm going to show you exactly how you can do this yourself, and you could create your own high ticket coaching funnel and sell your own high ticket coaching, consulting, expert products, services, packages, whatever it is. So the Red Diamond funnel consists of 3 parts, right? What's in that funnel, or what drives that funnel, is equity, trust, and control. These are the 3 ingredients that you must have to drive a fully successful high ticket coaching, consulting, expert business. Right? Equity means to be so desirable, to have a product, service, or offering that's so desirable they just can't resist it. Things that you can sell for $5,000 to $25,000 and make a considerable profit on that. The other is you need to have trust. Trust is such an important mechanic. So phase 2 of our approach is to build trust, and trust is all about your clients, right? To become so admired, they can't ignore you, right? And when you build that trust the right way, it's becomes so much easier to get those clients over the line, and it's all about increasing your status and trust. I'll talk about that as well in a minute. And then finally, when you're building a successful high ticket coaching business and you have a funnel that drives everything, you need to be able to control it, because it can quickly become something that's overwhelming. When you set it up the wrong way, you can start getting clients into that, and then all of a sudden it becomes a mess. You're losing control of the clients, you're not doing follow-up properly, you're not engaging people properly. It just becomes very messy, and it can happen very quickly, especially if you want to scale. And if you don't have control from the beginning, you're never going to have all these other pieces working well for you. So it's important. And this is about installing simple systems that are so simple, you literally become unstoppable. And that's the important component, right? So our funnel consists of all of that. So when we dive into that, you'll see that we have all these different systems that we plug into our funnel that drive it and make it very effective and create the results that we're looking for. Now, these are the control mechanisms, which is about your analytics and numbers. This is your automation, this is your team management, and this is your leadership approach or your dashboard for controlling everything or keeping your team, staff, everyone in the same loop so that everybody has their part to play in the client acquisition process and delivery of your product or service. So here's the thing, a funnel is for high ticket. It doesn't have to be that complicated. You have an ad, you have a video page. I call this an Echo Trust video, which is about building trust. But trust doesn't happen unless you got these components happening here. So there is a few phases to a high ticket funnel. The phases are this really, right? You have a client journey that's going to happen. You have to engage your clients where they are and then take them down a path. Because they have multiple choices. They can go to your competition, they can speak to somebody else. There's a whole different bevy of things. They can just do nothing, right? The role of the machine of a high ticket funnel is to engage and drive people down the path in a way that doesn't feel pushy, doesn't feel salesy, but invites them in and takes them on the journey so that they're getting the parts of your business that make sense to them and they feel that they want to engage with you, right? The ultimate end result is for them to commit, right? And then to have the desire to want to work with you. So it starts from the beginning. First of all, they don't know you. They have no idea who you are. So you have to create that curiosity. Curiosity usually comes through inspiration or information that's out there that you put out there, right? Through your blogs, social media, cold outreach, whatever that is. Once they become curious, they then become interested. Usually the interested part happens when they prioritize the want of their thing. They realize that there's a solution and there is something or someone that can help them down this path. So usually that's a mindset shift from wanting something to prioritizing that want and now wanting to take that action. And so what we do here to improve on that interest component, to get them super interested, to turn that want into a priority, is we have the component of teaching, right? We teach, educate, and give people a lot of information about who we are so that they can feel like they're ready to take that next step. If you're engaging people and you think that you can just have a one touch and that's it, turn around on a client, it's very difficult to do. And so the next part of the funnel is your ads. This is your social media. Now we do paid social media. We put money behind our content. The money that we put behind our content drives the results that we get for low cost marketing, low cost advertising. When you're running a very busy business like we do, to constantly be putting out content. And so instead of taking our content and pumping out every day new content, we kind of spread it out, but we put money behind it so that it has more of an impact. We reach more people. And in doing that, we then filtering in and warming up our client base into a process of retargeting and filtering so that we're getting the perfect avatar coming into our advertising space. And when we start advertising to them, which is what this is a dragon ad, it's then you're in a position where you're creating the status. You're getting your status built up so that now they see you as somebody of value because you've done all these other things. And now going into the next component, you're totally amplifying your trust in who you are, what you do. We call this an echo video. So this is your sales video per se. This is telling them who you are, what you're doing, how you're going to help them in a specific sequence. It's only a 25-minute video. This here is super powerful because when done correctly, it really elevates your position as an expert because you've done all these other things. This message that you've created is just for me. Now I understand that you are the person I want to work with. So they will go into a process of commitment. Commitment is on your calendar, and doesn't matter if people book on your calendar. Doesn't mean they're going to show up. Number one, doesn't mean they're going to be committed. Doesn't even mean they're going to be fully engaged and interested in the whole process. And so we have a system, we call this the score closer system, because we believe that sales doesn't just happen in a call. It's not just a script, it's not just talking to people or being on the call. It's an entire infrastructure that helps people go through your process. And this infrastructure, when done correctly and installed the right way, it's so powerful that it does all the heavy lifting for you, and you can automate all this, which is important, because their commitment that they're putting to say they want to work with you does not mean that they're going to actually work with you, because there's still work to be done. And so there's a lot of energy and effort that we place into our systems that we've engineered so that this closing process works very efficiently, as we know who we're speaking to, how we're speaking to them, what the message is going to be, number one, to close them quicker. So this becomes very frictionless when you're closing them, when you're on the call. What we're doing is we're engaging the people in the right manner with the right message. And typically, if it's done correctly, you can close them in the one call. However, if they don't go forward and there's missing gaps here, you can fill those missing gaps and get them back in front of you so you can have that conversation. And when you do this right, you never lose out on clients. You never leave people left out. If people aren't a good fit, have something to work with them on where you can send them to other avenues, partners, or other directions that are better suited for them. We have certain avatars that we don't work with. We have a client that has a specific avatar that they don't work with, right? They filtered in the avatar. They get to the point of the call and it seemed like a good fit all the way through the application process and all that validation. Then they get onto the call and they figure out, okay, this client has got a certain aspect of their need that doesn't quite fit with what we're doing. And he has done this as well, figured out that there is another layer that he can send them to where they can get help. And the partnership that he's created pays him a commission on those leads that they bring through, which is a win-win. And we've done the same in one of our businesses, in our real estate businesses. We have a client base that comes in, and we've realized that it kind of disseminates, and there's 3 different types of avatars. And so we didn't serve these people for a while. Then as well, we figured out that we could send them somewhere else. And the company that we sent them to was happy to take on the clients and work with them. And these clients were happy to be engaged. And now we've created a referral process. That referral process is now automated. And so we get commissions and they get commissions, and it just works really well. When you know the stuff, when you have a system in place to drive this, and you've done all this the right way, it's very powerful. So that's the funnel mechanics, right? I've kind of jumped ahead of the conversation here. This is how we've created over $4.2 million in 2 years, the Red Diamond funnel. We install this for our clients. It's very effective, drives high quality results, getting the perfect clients onto your calendar, and you're not wasting money on advertising that's misspent. You're getting very highly targeted ads created for the people that are a perfect fit at the right time. So here's the thing, high ticket funnels or high ticket selling or high ticket businesses don't function without these core ingredients. They must have ingredients. First of all, most people want to sell high ticket stuff, but they have no clarity on their defined path. And what is a defined path? The defined path is the message. If your message is disconnected, you cannot get the clients that you want. And this is where a lot of people struggle, because they have an idea, they have this great business, they have a way to help people, they have an end result, but it's the in-between that's broken. And so the very first starting point, the vital component, is the message. Who are you talking to? Who's the person that you want to help? And the starting point for getting the right message is here. Defining your pathway, and that means, what is your niche? What is the specific niche that you're operating in and the people that you're helping that's going to get you the results that you want? Is it big enough? Is it small enough? What are the mechanics of that defined path? And we also like to call it a minimum viable segment. That segment that you can work in that really does justice, that you can become known for, you can build your trust and status in, and it's easier for you to get sales happening at a higher price point, because when you have a defined path, you can sell at a higher price point, right? It's niching down into the specifics of that segment. And the core components of these is, right, knowing who that segment is. You'll know me speak about this quite a bit, and there are four core pillars of profit. Right, the four core pillars of profit, right? We have wellness, we have mind and life. Mind and life, I'll explain these in a second. We have performance and we have business. These are the core, most profitable, high-ticket segments that you can dive into, where you're pretty much guaranteed to make money if you create the right message, have the right market fit, and you follow what I'm talking about. In both of our companies, we've gone through this process and been very, 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 very clear about who our avatar is, specifically the market that we're attacking, what that market segment looks like, the size of it, and how we can speak to them the right way. That's where our success exponentially blew up. It's because we got that message market fit so good that it just worked so well. So in the wellness space, you've got things like strength, fitness, recovery, weight loss, supplementation, longevity, ADHD, autism, disease, stress, health, addiction, chronic pain, anxiety, depression, bereavement, deflation, diabetes. There's a ton of stuff that you can work in the wellness space. It's huge. It's pretty much never ending. These are obviously not all of the sector. Mind and life, very big. You have areas like purpose, self-esteem, motivation, spirituality, confidence, resilience, relationships, parenting, sexuality, divorce, family law, parenting, sleep, emotional control, accountability, mindset, pet skills, meditation. These are huge segments in markets that anyone can make money in as well, if that's your affinity or if that's your skill set. The next is performance. And in the performance space, we have career, productivity, wealth, finance, leadership, public speaking, personal brand, focus, performance, sport, executives, upskilling, negotiation, time management, networking, organization, investing, conflict management, those types of things. So it's about creating performance for people to do better in their lives, to increase their wealth, increase their productivity, increase their performance, right? Then we got business. Business is huge. Business is one of the most profitable out of all of the segments. And this is a big industry as well. Things like management, marketing, growth, scaling, automation, systems, recruitment, funding, sales, product development, reputation, virtual staff, e-commerce, team harmony, big one. Team harmony is huge. Startup, exit strategy, virtual businesses, production. These are all big ticket coaching and consulting and expert industries that will never run dry. Now, I will provide a link below in this video where you can download this and you can have a browse through it. So just go ahead and grab yourself a copy of this, and it gives you some indication of the types of areas that are worth pursuing if you haven't decided on this. But if you have already decided on it, we'll move on to what the next layer looks like, right? And if you don't know these components, you leave yourself open to wasting money, time, energy, effort. Even the smallest little changes, just a few words can make a huge difference. Just a little bit of the wrong messaging, just a little bit of the wrong context, and you'll lose your clients or potential clients very quickly. And so when you're choosing a main segment, I always say to people, right, there's always a debate between passion and skills. Do something that you're passionate about or do something that you're good at. Can you find both? Not always. So skills always come as a priority. Skills win. And if you get really good at something, if your skills are elevated to a degree where you're better than any other people or a lot of other people, then you become passionate about those things, because that status that you have inflates you and it creates this perpetual momentum. And that's how I always say that skills is way more important than passion. And so your main segment, always decide on a main segment. For instance, you need to know which pillar you're in. Are you in performance, business, wellness? For this interest of what we're talking about today, we'll talk about in the productivity space. Let's go wealth. I like wealth. Who doesn't like to build wealth? I look for people to work with me to increase my wealth all the time. I work with coaches and consultants who help us with our real estate investing, who help us to build our portfolio, etc., etc. So wealth is a good one. What's a sub-segment? In the terms of what I was just talking about, would be real estate, right? So real estate, how do you build up an asset base in real estate? But specifically what we've done in our industry, in our business, in our real estate business, is we help people in real estate specifically with cash flow, right? How to create assets that are cash flow or self-liquidating. That was been a primary context of us building our wealth as well. And the skills that we've developed in this has kind of emulated into creating a business that's become perpetual and it's growing rapidly. And you're going to need to be very clear about who it is specifically that you're looking for or you want to work with or going to work with. Because that's an important component of a high-ticket funnel. Who they are means that you're going to know their location, specifically location. And location can be, even if you're in a global context, right? In the world, there's certain locations that are not going to be suitable for you to work in. Even if you're, say, in one specific country, and you know that country is a good country to operate in, even in that country, understanding for the most part the broader context, what are the locations that are going to be viable and not viable. If you can get clarity on that, right, and you're not just willy-nilly advertising everywhere or getting your word out everywhere, it makes the job of what you do so much easier. The next is gender, and this is not to be gender biased or anything, but there are certain products that you sell to females and certain products you sell to males and certain that you sell to a mix, certain that you sell to alternate genders, right? And so there's just a different packaging, but the message needs to resonate with the gender that you're speaking to. And it's important to be clear what that looks like. Is it couples? Is it singles? You know, what is their status like? The status of your client is important, right? They're married, not married, those kind of things. And age. Age demographic of these segments are super important. When you get them right, you know who you're talking to, you know your messaging. These are the core components. So when you're talking about the who, it's all those things there that I've just mentioned, right? So location, gender, status, age. These are the who. So you have a clear picture of your avatar and who your potential avatar will be. So you have a clear indication of who your niche is, right? What does your niche look like? What is the category of that niche and how are the types of individuals that you're going to look at? Now, if you've dived into your segment, your niche, and you say in the wealth space, you know that person wants to have cash flow real estate and they want to invest for their future, you need to know what is the barrier that you're removing, or what is the pain points that you're removing. For us, in our business, the pain point was that there was the properties that they were investing in were costing more than what it was making them, right? So the expenses were higher than the output. And this meant they were in a negative position. That is a struggle that a lot of our clients were facing. They were being told that they were going to be these equity bombshells, but they weren't, the growth wasn't happening. And now they're stuck because they've got to pay these mortgages and they don't know how to break out of that cycle. So what we did is we created a formula to give them the ability to go into a positive position. That was what we were removing. We were removing the pain of them struggling with their mortgage, right? So then it's really important to know what you're moving away from, right? Moving away from a pain is super important. If you don't move away from a pain, right? If you're not taking them away from the pain, because pain is a huge motivator, huge driver, the frustration or the place they don't want to be. And for us, it was retiring broke, going down this path, having investments, investing in real estate, and what happens? They might go broke, they might lose everything, or they might get to a point where they haven't built enough cash flow resilience so that they can provide for themselves in the future, because that's what business and investing and all that's about, right? We're building for our future. Then what are we taking them towards? In this same business, we were taking them towards the financial freedom or retiring early. Investing the right way so that they can get to a point where they're retiring early and enjoying the golden years. Very powerful context. It took us a long time to understand this, but we deeply understand this now because we know how to talk to our clients in this way. The messaging just really resonates. And this happens in any business. Even in current business consultancy, Coach Launch, we have the same context. Now, when it comes to urgency, this is a vital component. I think that if you can understand urgency in the market, in any niche, you're well ahead of the curve. You're well ahead of the game. So urgency drives sales. So what I mean by that is that what will happen to them, that those people in that niche, what will happen to them if they don't do the thing, if they don't come and work with you, right? It's for us, and I call this in our messaging, bleak years, right? The urgency is if you don't take action, if you don't do the thing, work with us, what could potentially happen is you're going to have bleak years. What that means in our messaging is that you'll get to a point where it's too late and now you have to retire, and that point between where you retire and your end of your life could be just really bleak because you haven't got the results that you're looking for. So my messaging is always, whatever effort you can put in right now is super important because that's going to drive what that result looks like to get away from that bleak years. So bleak years was our urgency, and that message was very crystal clear. And the timeline that we work with our clients on, that depended, and we had 2 avatars. So the first client was 30 days. We can change their property around from negative to positive in just on 30 days. And other clients, which were clients that were investing, obviously the investing process takes long, acquisition and all that. We were working at about 180 days, right? So there are 2 timelines that we work with. These are crystal clear outcomes. We work to give our clients the best answers, the best messaging that we wanted to work with. So I hope that makes sense, because when you define that clear pathway and you know exactly who it is you're working with and who in that niche you want to service, then you can go and create much more tighter messaging that works for that funnel. Everything you do at the beginning of your funnel, right at the beginning part, like setting up and creating that messaging, goes all the way through to your whole process. What's the content that you create? What is the messaging that you need to put into it? It then follows through to finding that exact avatar that you're looking for and how you target them to get them into your pathway. Then it goes into your advertising so that you've got a crystal clear message for your advertising. So you're drawing in the person in a way that they feel like they want to work with you. You've built up your status and you built up your trust. Vital in components, and that all comes from your message, knowing your defined path. And all the way through right until you get to where you're going to close the sale, where they're speaking to you. If you get all these other mechanics right, by the time they get in front of you and speak to you, the sale is super easy. The sale is so easy, you don't have to beg people for the most part. There is, of course, the people that you might not want to work with, and then there's the people that also might fall off, right? Or they go silent. It happens. You can't have 100% sales rate, but there's this work towards having 100% close rate. So when they fall off the back and they're not responsive, you put them into an automated process that drives them back, right? Now, a high ticket funnel, the driving mechanics for that is messaging. You don't need webinars, you don't need challenges, you don't need all that other fancy stuff. You just need a well-oiled machine that gets the people into your funnel and you get to close them with the right messaging, with the right connection. It's a lot easier to find this connection as well when you're doing this type of process, because the messaging that you create here on your social media, it already triggers certain, psychological things in their head, or certain psychological triggers they fire that drive them down this path. And when you get them to that point, the delivery and all that other stuff is super, super easy. And that's when you're getting good testimonials. Our people need to feel engaged and part of the process, and that you know their language, that you know how to speak to them. When you know how to speak to people, when you know how to get their language happening, right, everything becomes easy. Now, I would like to invite you, please, to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so yet. And also go ahead and if you want to work with us, if you want us to install a high-ticket system into your business, we are happy to help you. You can find out, book a session, and we'll be able to show you the roadmap of this and exactly how you can create it so that it's automated. And finally, if you go ahead and watch this next video, this is going to take you on the next journey on creating and building your high-ticket coaching or consulting business today. My name is Ashley White. Thank you very much. Talk to you again soon.